What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tru Element 78 in the building with
your one and only reigning, defending Mondo Lucha Hall of Famer, the X-Men, Xavier Mustafa.
And everybody's favorite narcissist, the natural Chris Black.
And today is a very special edition of the Saturday Night Slamcasters where we are going to be reviewing two movies starring, well, I would say the same person, but I guess they're different. One is starring Dean Ambrose and one is starring Jon Moxley. And the movies are called 12 Rounds 3 Lockdown, and the other one is called Cagefighter. One was made by WWE Films, and the other one was made in collaboration with AEW. But before we get into that, we have a very special guest in the building with us who's going to be helping us to review these movies.
I am the social media manager, Logan Ross. Apparently, the best guest with the most personality by Tru Element. He said it himself. And you can follow me on social media at Logan Ross on Facebook. Twitter and Instagram are the same at SMM Logan Ross. We also have... Whoa. You wanted me to do it right. I'm doing it right. We also have my sports podcast, which is on Facebook. It is the Duffy and BT Sports Network. Go give it a like. But our actual show is called Duffy BT Sports Show.
All right. Anybody else seeing the Christmas lights going crazy on Logan Ross's screen?
Yeah. It does that, and I have no idea why.
It just does that.
It looks like
it does it randomly. It's not an effect that I was like, hey, let me fucking put this on real quick. It just wigs out.
It looked like you about to get arrested. It looks like you're doing your best Jimmy Uso. Doing your best Jimmy Uso impression over there.
No, I'll just pull up my white privilege card and I'll be safe.
But anyways, like I said, we are here to review two movies. And before we get into the reviews of those two movies, my first question off the top for you guys is just going to be, who did you like? Who had the better acting, Jon Moxley or Dean Ambrose?
See, that's not a valid question because he was cutting promos in Cagefighter Worlds Collide. He didn't get to cut any promos in 12 Rounds 3. Okay. So that's what I feel was the difference. Like, he was cutting promos every time you saw him in Worlds Collide.
Okay, so in the Cagefighter movie, he was just being Jon Moxley. Period. That's all.
Perfect.
So it was easy. It was easy for him to portray that character because there was really no acting involved. You turn on the camera and you just do Dean Ambrose. And that's what he did. But I will say that Dean Ambrose in 12 Rounds was a much better actor than Seth Rollins in our last shit review. Or not shit review, the last review of the shit movie.
Yeah. What about you, Logan Ross? Who did you like? Who did you enjoy more, Jon Moxley or Dean Ambrose?
Jon Moxley. Even though they're the same goddamn person.
But they had two totally different directions that they went in these two movies.
And let me tell you, 12 Rounds 3, the shits. Cagefighter, real good.
We needed Jon Moxley in 12 Rounds. Now, I'm not going to shit on it like you just did.
Oh, I'm
we needed
on it.
We
That's
needed
not
Jon
even
Moxley.
shitting on it for me. That's just saying it's the shits. Wait until I rip this piece of shit movie apart. Then you'll really see why I call it the shit.
All right, so without any further ado, let's get right into the actual review. And we're going to start with 12 Rounds 3 Lockdown, starring, I'm going to use his government name now, Jonathan Good, formerly known as Dean Ambrose, also known as Jon Moxley. It also stars Roger Cross and Daniel Cudmore. It was directed by Stephen Reynolds, and it had the writers of Nathan Brooks and Bobby Lee Darby. And the name Bobby Lee Darby, you guys have probably heard us say in some of these movie reviews already, because he's done the movie The Eliminators for WWE as well. He also wrote See No Evil 2. So, yeah, if you guys have been listening to all of our reviews, you've heard that name before. He's pretty much a WWE writer at this point, I guess. You can say, where is the synopsis for this movie? Lockdown follows a police officer who returns to duty after recovering from a gunshot wound to discover incriminating evidence of illegal activities against those closest to him. He quickly finds himself trapped inside his own precinct, hunted and in search of the truth, as the crooked cops stop at nothing to recover the evidence. And one thing I can say about this movie, this is WWE films, you know, all of them are kind of on shoestring budgets. And so if you notice, movies that are on shoestring budgets, they usually take place in one place. And a lot of them have been somewhat contrived or whatever. Like the pretty much base of this movie was pretty much the same thing as the Seth Rollins movie that we reviewed. Like the precinct got locked down. What?
Oh, no.
No. I mean, I just mean being locked in a police station. It's just kind of interesting that that's all they have for the.
This one actually had a story.
Oh yeah, this one had a much better story. Besides, in a ghost. Spoiler alert for the last review if you haven't listened to it. But I actually really enjoyed this movie. I had a good time with it. We got our first nude scene in a WWE film. I enjoyed that as well.
And it was an interracial one.
Wait a minute. When did somebody get nude in this movie? I don't even remember that.
The black guy was banging the random white
Oh, yeah. That's right.
I was about to say Mustafa had already done the chill part of Netflix and chill by that point.
Dick Slinger.
He was wiping off at that point.
Hey, that should be your gimmick if you ever do return to the ring before I retire you. Xavier Mustafa, the cock slinger. You come out where a cop, he's down to the ring.
He comes out to the ring, every opponent he wants to cock slap him.
You basically take over Joey Ryan's gimmick since he's been saved now.
Woo!
Damn. Is that a dick flip, a dick slap?
The BBC. Since
you get copyright infringement.
Since Keith Lee's not using it right now. Well, maybe he is. Mia Yim, I don't know.
He's using it already.
I would definitely be delivering a lot of that.
Listen, I'm a good Christian boy.
Other two shit all over this movie. Look, for what it was, I enjoyed this movie because it was like, to me, it brought me back to the days of like the made for TV movies. You know, it's not going to be like a blockbuster or it's going to be like extremely good. It was what it was. It told a pretty decent story. Were they reaching on some point? Sure. But in the end, I think it was good. And I actually sat back as I'm watching. I'm like, I'm actually enjoying this. Like, I actually didn't want to turn it off like the last movie we reviewed.
Okay, so I said almost the exact same thing for the last movie that we did. So I'm not going to let you slide on this bullshit here.
No. That last movie was some C movie shit that you see on the Sci-Fi Network.
First of all, Dean Ambrose's acting was absolutely atrocious. I swear, was he on Somas the entire movie?
I gotta interject. When he had to act, yeah, his acting was terrible. But once shit hit the fan and he just got to be Dean Ambrose, when he got to be Dean Ambrose, because you guys say, I asked you guys at the top about Dean Ambrose versus Jon Moxley. There is a difference in character. And when he got to just be Dean Ambrose in this movie, that's when the movie was pumping on all cylinders. But when he had to be his freaking character, what the hell was his name?
Doesn't matter.
Captain Nobody Cares.
John Shaw. When he had to just be John Shaw, that's when the movie was at its weakest, in my opinion.
Point out when he was Jon Moxley in this movie. Please do, because I don't get it. I didn't see it.
I thought this movie needed some more loose cannon Jon Moxley, or loose cannon Dean Ambrose at the very least. But, yeah.
What did you think, Mr. Ross?
Oh, here we go.
Whew, so I could say a ton of shit. Because, number one, fuck this movie. It was going so... And you know what? I'm going to say fuck this movie and bury it right there. But I'm going to compliment it and then shit on it some more. I was enjoying the movie, actually, until we hit the parking garage scene, where they light that fucking car up and he gets hit one time. You're telling me they put all those bullets into that goddamn car and he gets hit one time? Go fuck. How about that? All right.
No, I was over this movie at the beginning of it, where they take this guy hostage. They get the password for his safe. They get the laptop up, and then the laptop doesn't even have any type of password protection on it. You put the laptop in a safe. You don't even have a password on the damn computer. They just opened it up, and the files was just right there. I was like, you know what? I'm done with this movie.
You know, okay,
probably didn't have a password. It was just 6969. It was like, nice.
If we're gonna rip that scene apart, I've watched enough episodes of Law and Order to know that if you shoot the fucker in the knee first, shooting him in the chest 3 times, they're gonna be like, something mysterious. And plus, he didn't shoot the gun with his hand, so there's no gunpowder residue on his fingers. So do better with the writing.
You must have been reading my notes, because that was my next note. No gunshot residue. How does that work?
Well, that's also the funny thing, because since he was such a celebrated cop in here, they would have just chalked it up to his word. There wouldn't have actually been any investigation or anything like that. I've known enough cops.
But you still got to do your job. I mean,
the coroner would have just chalked it up. They would have been like, yep, that's what happened. He had 5 other cops there with him. They would have just all corroborated, and there would have been no real investigation.
Wait. So the guy takes 2 pop shots at you. You shoot him 3 times in the chest. At what point did you decide to put one in his knee?
I have another issue with this scene as well. Where's the backups? There aren't any. All right, I'm gonna shoot 2 fucking holes in the wall. You're just gonna be like, yes, there are no backups anywhere. I believe you.
Well, remember, he told him to go search. Now, the funny thing to me all right, so you guys will talk about all the forensic thing. When they shot the freaking laptop, that doesn't mean that the hard drive is destroyed. You can still recover information. So I want to know what happened. I want to know what happened to the laptop. But not even that. There's gunshots in the counter at an angle that would make no sense for there to be gunshots in the counter that would need to be explained.
Okay. Made for TV movie. We're not supposed to think this deeply.
Then my other issue, of course I had issues with the movie. The other issue I had was Dean Ambrose was like, he wasn't a bumbling idiot, but I'm like, how did the bad guys know how to basically write code? When they went into the security room, he started writing in the code to put the place in lockdown. Does everybody just have that information on how to access the entire computer system?
I'm going to take it one step further. Before that, where he's chilling in the hallway on the way to the goddamn system, and he just leaves into the stairway instead of taking out the bad guy, who's clearly going to use the goddamn camera system to his advantage. Boom, movie's over right there. Take him out. You walk outside. Hey, I got this fucking chip. What are we doing about it?
Well, that was also the other thing. I'm like, this entire precinct is Windows. You're not really locked in.
and you know what? I got an issue with the rookie cop, too. She's standing there. My card key isn't working. Kick out the fucking glass door and walk out of the precinct, you stupid bitch.
She was blind.
Okay.
Come on.
I got 2 points I want to make. The first one is about that rookie, because this what annoyed me. Fucking listen when somebody tell you to do something. He could have shot you in the back of the fucking head. He said, hey, go hide. And she's like, I'm going to go walk around. So when she got shot, I didn't give 2 shits about it.
This is Mustafa's rant about rookies and all facets of life right now.
The second issue I have. So all of a sudden you have this scene in the parking garage and they're shooting up everything. They got all these firefights, right? He only has 12 rounds. They go to a fucking armory towards the end of the movie, the bad guys, they go to an armory to get all these weapons. So wouldn't that mean Dean Ambrose had access to that armory too? Why didn't he go there and get a fucking machine gun? Then he would have had 337 rounds.
Can I one up you again?
Sure.
He goes to his locker where you clearly have ammunition if you're a police officer and doesn't grab ammo.
He didn't have any. Remember, it was his first day back. He didn't have any ammo in his locker.
Yeah.
Now, but also the thing was, remember, this was almost like he didn't like any other gun besides his own gun.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I've never seen any of the 12 Rounds movies before. Honestly, I thought it was going to be a boxing movie, but
What?
But 12 rounds. So when they were at the shooting range, when they did the shooting range scene, and he was just like, "Yeah, it only holds 12 rounds." I'm like, that's the gimmick.
Family Guy. He said it. He said it.
Okay, so he had 12 rounds, right? So I'm like, okay, there has to be to a point where he has no rounds, and then that's an issue. We didn't even get to that point. I'm pretty sure he ended the movie with 4 rounds left. Did he?
No, at the end of the movie, he shot the last one. He was like, "My last one."
Yeah.
I forgot what he shot, but
he shot the main villain in the leg.
Which is dumb, by the way, because he's surrounded by cops and about to be arrested. Why?
Well, they full circle. He shot the first guy in the leg in the beginning, so he had to get his leg shot.
See, like there was just a lot of conveniences in here. Like I was like, okay, he sees the guy with the AK when they were all in the crime lab, and he shoots him in the head. He falls down. They're just raining down fire on him with these automatic weapons, and so he's like, I got to figure out a way to get some fire on them. He takes the taser out. How do you know that you're going to shoot this guy in the leg with a taser, this dead body, and it's going to force a muscle contraction where he just starts letting off rounds, which causes an explosion. He pulls a Batman. He rips the vent off the ventilation system, so they think he crawled through the vent, but he actually went to go hide behind a cabinet.
And you know what else sucks about this scene, too? And when I said I'm ripping this fucking movie apart, I meant it. You're sitting there, and it's maybe that thick. You can't see for those listening to us, but they can fucking see my fingers right now. It's that thick. They're shooting the shit out of this precinct in these cubicles. How are none of these rounds hitting? Explain it.
They're stormtroopers.
Bulletproof glass. Yeah, that could be.
Okay, here's another problem I have with the movie. So once he realizes that his captain isn't in her office, right? He goes to another room. He calls her. He says, instead of telling her what's going on, he says, "Hold on," and goes run around and does some shit. And then that's when they cut off where you couldn't make any calls from inside the building. If he would have took, and he had time, if he would have took 15 seconds to say, "Hey, so-and-so is a bad cop. I have evidence. This is some bullshit." Movie over.
That's the point. Movie would have been over. He had time to tell the rookie cop that there's some dirty cops here. That's why you need to go hide. Like, how much time would that have taken?
Honestly, he didn't have to walk to his captain's office either. He'd be like, he saw the shit on the computer, and he could have called her and just be like, "Look."
He could have sent an email to Internal Affairs right then and there, but I guess he didn't want. He wanted to do everything by the book. He didn't want to go over his direct.
And let me point out another thing. They got one of these main bad guys that comes back later in the movie after being absolutely blasted in the fucking skull with a weight. How are you not concussed or dead at that point?
Did he come back?
He did. The dude that got his shit rocked with the weight, he just shows up like, "Where is he? I'm ready to kill him."
Look, when I watched that scene, all I could think about was that WrestleMania match with Edge and or was that a Backlash match when it was Edge versus Randy Orton and they were in the weight room?
All I can think about is the Money in the Bank match you guys shitted on, where Baron Corbin destroys the mirror with the weight, where he tried to murder Rey Mysterio the first time.
Okay, so you guys are shitting on the film. Like I said, I enjoyed this.
It's bad.
I enjoyed this film for what it was. It was a great popcorn flick.
Look, if you want to watch senseless shooting, it's a good movie.
Hey, this was the best so far. This was the best action film that WWE has presented us with, besides The Rundown, which was a big budget film. For this to be such a low budget film, which low budget is usually under $5 million, which I know this movie costs way under $5 million.
How don't you know? I don't know. I like The Condemned. Was that not a WWE film?
Oh yeah, The Condemned was fun too. And that was one thing I wanted to bring up. So, on WWE television, their thing is the roll up. I feel like in these WWE action films, their thing is the grenade pin pool on an unsuspecting person.
And that's not how grenades work, by the way. Like them exploding, yeah, but like them exploding the body that they portrayed it, that's not how that works.
Oh yeah, he would have got wrecked and hit with shrapnel from the guy exploding. But yeah,
I will say I did like that part though.
You said what?
I did like that part where he got blew.
Oh, that guy got wrecked. He got.
I enjoyed it, but like it's still not how grenades.
Like the other guy came in, was calling his name. I'm like, bro, he's everywhere.
So I don't know if you guys noticed, we brought up the nude scene. It's actually funny on IMDb when you look up this film. They have like things to look out for in it. So tags for this film are diehard scenario, female nudity, topless female nudity, interracial sex. Just so you know, if you don't want to see that, interracial sex.
Hey, if you're an older white person that hates certain things, this isn't for you.
Well, that really made him the villain, though. Shit.
He's look at him. He thinks he's that uppity Negro.
He could never sling some dick like me in my day.
The funniest thing too, I was like, man, I don't know if they really faking. She up here perspiring. She putting in some work. And then women was like, he's the villain. Look how lazy he is, just laying there.
He said, come on, baby, just a tit.
So one thing about this film, I don't know if you guys also noticed in that news scene, I was bringing that up because the song in the song that was playing actually talked about Ric Flair. It mentioned Ric Flair's name. So while he's taking the girl to Space Mountain, Ric Flair's name gets brought up. I thought that was kind of hilarious.
As long as it wasn't sung by Bad Bunny.
And this is before Bad Bunny's time. A trivia note for this movie, which is kind of funny. This is on IMDb. It says, due to being in WWE where they perform in front of a live audience on live television, Dean Ambrose was used to reading his lines in one try and was getting pissed off at the other actors when they would forget their lines.
Don't you know how to read a fucking script?
Vince McMahon was sitting in the background. Good.
Well, I remember the coach had did an interview, and he was like, when teleprompters go out, because of his experience with WWE, he was able to just go off bullet points and stuff like that, but nobody else in ESPN could do it without a damn teleprompter.
Good for something, apparently.
Yeah, so also another note about this movie that was interesting was this was the first film that WWE did that was released by 21st Century Fox, which means us reviewing it here, they did have a limited, DVD release, but since it was made by 21st Century Fox, or 20th Century Fox, I should say, that means that Disney owns this film now. So don't expect to see this on Disney Plus anytime soon.
So does that make Dean Ambrose Disney princess?
That means Mustafa's probably going to change his tune about how he feels about the movie now. Oh, it's Disney? I like it now.
Nope, not at all.
The House of Mouse. That's how you get paid.
Trash. This movie is so garbage.
Like I said, I liked it. This was like he was written off. Dean Ambrose was written off television. This was when Seth Rollins did the curb stomp onto a cinder block after SummerSlam.
You mean the Mexican cylinder blocks? Because before that, it was the Japanese staple they tried to put him.
So, did you like anything about the movie, Mustafa?
I like the one guy getting blown up. That was pretty fun.
I got an early pop in the movie when the jackass pulls up next to him and is like flipping him off, and Dean Ambrose is just like with his badge. I thought that was funny.
And so for those of you who missed the movie, this was made, or released, I should say, May 1st of last year in the midst of COVID. That's when, that's when it was released in the Netherlands. This movie actually came out, I didn't say that for you guys, in 2015. So, yeah. Yeah, overall, like I said, I enjoyed the movie for what it was. It did have its I would say this was the best movie as far as continuity, but it did have a lot of logic holes in it. But as long as you were able to let those go, which I don't think any of them were movie breaking for me at all. And it was kind of funny that Roger Cross, this was basically, he was trying to do his best Denzel Washington. You don't do this to me.
So
he was just disposed, like he didn't care about anybody. He was like, I've been looking for a reason to cut this bitch out at the end. And I was like, God damn, bro.
Yeah, he's maybe a little too ruthless at some points where it's almost made him like a caricature.
Yeah, I was like, how do any of your people follow you? Like, you a terrible boss.
Mm-hmm.
You using your own people as your own cannon fodder. So I will
say I did like the twist where you found out the captain was in on it, but I mean, by the time that reveal happened, 3 seconds later, she was getting shot by her own people. So I was like, oh, okay.
As soon as she popped up, I smelled a rat.
So I know I shitted on this movie, and boy, do I mean shitted on this fucking movie. But yeah, for as much as I shitted on it, like I said, if you can just enjoy senseless violence for no reason with an okay to mediocre story, it's a good movie to watch.
Yeah, I don't think you really enjoy this movie. What else can I say about this movie? I'm actually looking for the budget. I didn't have that pulled up.
Yeah, I've noticed WWE movies, they hide that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find that anywhere. I've been searching, so. Well, this was the third movie in the series. I hadn't watched any of the other ones either. I know kind of the plot of the first one. It wasn't about 12 rounds in a gun. It was about this guy going after John Cena, and he made him go through 12 rounds of like obstacles or something like that. So not every movie is the same as this. And then the second movie starred Randy Orton, and that was called Reloaded. And that was basically Randy Orton's consolation prize because he was supposed to be in the Marine movie, but since he was discharged, dishonorably discharged from the Marines, there was a petition that he not star in the Marine movie. So yeah, I don't know. I think that we'll have to keep watching. We might have to go back in our next series and watch the other 12 rounds movies, or at least some of those Marine movies, because I do want to see the one with Becky Lynch. Moving on, let's go head over to the second movie starring John Moxley, or Jonathan Good as his real name is. This movie was funny to me because the Jenna Gershon, when they first showed her, I was like, is that Lisa Ann in this movie? Definitely thought that was Lisa Ann. She looks like, and none of my co-hosts know who Lisa Ann is, except for maybe Chris Black.
Nope, you lost me.
Oh, goddamn virgin.
Is she a fucking porn star?
The most famous.
Apparently not.
And Logan Ross should definitely know who she is because she does sports commentary nowadays, and she actually does sports betting.
He's a good Christian boy, just like me. You don't know.
Yeah, totally. Definitely.
I mean, he's a thought too. Thoughtful. Anyway, so Cagefighter, this was released in 2020. It was directed by Jesse Quinos, and he also wrote it. Stars Gina Gershon, Jonathan Good, and Chuck Liddell. And this was made in collaboration with AEW. It also has Christian Cage in it as Stephen Drake. His real name is Jay Resso, if you guys didn't know Christian Cage's real name. It also stars Alex I do not know how to say his real name. Alex Montagnani, I guess. I got a feeling this is where AEW found Anthony Ogogo when they were probably filming this movie or helping out with this film, because it pretty much takes place in the UK, and that's where he's from. And the Alex, he plays a character named Reese, and this is a synopsis of the film. Reese is the greatest champion to ever fight in a Legends Cage, which is the MMA league that he's in. But when promoter Max Black pits him against wrestling superstar Randy Stone, played by Jon Moxley, he finds himself in the toughest fight of his life. And so this is pretty much like the story of Job, or this is pretty much just a Creed knockoff with like
Creed 2.
1/100th of the budget of that film. I enjoy the movie, but it was kind of corny to me. But it sounds like you guys enjoyed it a little bit more than I did. So I'll let Logan Ross go first on this film.
Well, let me tell you, I watched these movies back to back. And when I watched 12 Rounds 3 first, and then watched Cagefighter, I was like, wow, what a great fucking movie. You know why? Because 12 Rounds 3 is the shit. I had to put that over one more time. But, no, when you watch Cagefighter, I'll agree with you, it is a little corny. But I enjoy it. Like,
hold on. Is he getting the robot voice for anybody else right now?
Yep.
oh,
Yeah.
I'm robot voice right now?
Yeah, you
You're
might want
actually
to.
frozen on my computer.
Yeah, you might want to log out and then log back in and see if that does
I
anything.
do that, and this room closed.
Oh, this whole thing goes down.
Because I'm the only ad.
Well, make somebody else an admin and bounce.
Here, let me tell one of the boys to come in here, because they're an admin.
All right. While you do that, Xavier Mustafa, what did you think of Cagefighter?
So, I did the same thing as Mr. Ross, and I watched both of these movies back to back. So this was definitely a breath of fresh air to see a good movie. I thought the acting was way better than 12 Rounds. Then I started to do some research and find out that the main character is actually a legit boxer. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I thought his acting was so-so. I thought Dean Ambrose was fantastic in this because every time you saw him, he was basically cutting a promo. First time you see him on the TV, first time you see him in real life when they're doing the I don't even know what to call it, the interview with the people, what is that called? Not a Q&A,
Press
but
release.
yeah, they were doing that. Like everything was a promo, and he wasn't in the movie a whole lot, but when he was in there, he was memorable, and I thought that was great.
So, like Mustafa was saying, like it was really good seeing Jon Moxley because he seemed to be in his own element because there was no acting really involved. He was just Jon Moxley. And when I first was into the movie, I thought that what they were going to do, I thought they were going to do the promoting up to this fight and go the whole back and forth with the wrestler versus MMA and blah, blah, blah. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, they're going to shit all over CM Punk. Because all the fans were just saying how, oh, you're trying to step into the ring, blah, blah, blah. Totally ignoring the fact that Brock Lesnar was kicking ass in the UFC. But anyway, and, you know, Bobby Lashley, not so much UFC. John Hager, again, not so much UFC. But a lot of these other wrestlers, you know, have been doing fairly well in the whole world of MMA.
And let's not forget that this wasn't UFC. This was more like Bellator.
Yes.
So there was more of what is it, Jake Hager's feel.
Yeah. So I guess because of the whole redemption story and all the whatever, I don't like the fact that Jon Moxley just fucking bodied this dude and knocked him the fuck out. I mean, yeah, they booked him as, oh, this guy got hands and he's been knocking out all of his sparring partners. But goddamn, like, I'm sorry. You know, as much love as I got for pro wrestlers, you stick them in a MMA ring, more than half of them are going to get rocked.
Yeah, the funny thing about that was I felt like when I was watching, I was like, man, I know Xavier Mustafa over there probably having nightmares right now. Like the guy who has no experience in the sport just coming in and kicking their ass. I was like, man, I know he's staying up at night thinking about me. I haven't been able to sleep since I watched this movie because I know Mustafa watched it. Mustafa, don't worry. Just let it happen. You deserve retirement.
Listen, wherever we get in the ring together, I'm gonna do you just like John Moxley did him. I'm gonna give you that tiger uppercut, and that's gonna be the end of it.
Yeah.
Hey,
But,
I'm back now.
it's just-
Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yeah, you sound clear now.
All right, perfect.
So, I mean, it's bad enough that Moxley just rocked the shit out of him. But then, like, he had the rematch with the guy. I mean, not the rematch. He had the match with the next guy who his trainer, Chuck Liddell, was just like, no, we're not going to take this fight. And he gets rocked by him, too. And I'm just like, damn, they making dude like a fucking jobber. I mean, he was like the champ, wasn't he?
He got that ass whooped worse than Dean Ambrose beat it in the first
Yeah.
one.
Well, they said he was hungry.
But, I mean, overall, I enjoyed this movie. This is one of those movies, like 12 rounds, probably never watch that again. I can see myself maybe watching this movie again.
I felt like watching this movie. I felt like we were watching it from the MMA perspective, and Dean Ambrose was Brock Lesnar. Like, I feel like when we watched it through Brock Lesnar's side. Like, fuck these MMA guys. Brock Lesnar, our dude.
Yeah.
I feel like we watched it from the MMA regular people side, and Brock Lesnar was just, whooping ass.
Mr. Ross, go ahead, since you were breaking up last time, and you can
All
start
right.
over with your thoughts.
Well, hopefully my audio isn't like that 12 rounds movie. But anyway, as I was saying before my audio went to shit, I enjoyed the movie, but I will agree with you that it was a little corny. Because when they're going through the little redemption thing, like the whole time, I felt like I was watching a TikTok video because it was cringe. But I like that they did the shit talking on pro wrestling, and then he comes in and wins. But I don't know if I like how he won. Like, I like that he won, but I think as a wrestler he should have came in and like choked him out. That's me personally. I know that's not the John Moxley style as
He
a
got
submission.
He got that German on him, though.
Dude, that's I was like, is that fucking legal? And I googled it. Sure, shit, it's legal. But
What
yeah,
definitely wasn't legal was him grabbing the cage and him the headbutt in the final fight.
But I enjoyed it. I popped for Christian when I seen Christian.
Yeah, that was unexpected. I had no idea he was in this movie.
And then you proceed to see who was it? Tommy Dreamer, Bully Ray,
Matt Hardy.
Matt Hardy, and there was one other, and I can't remember who. He was more of a background guy though. He didn't say anything. He was part of Moxley's entourage. But like I enjoyed it. They did a really good job with the movie.
One thing that really surprised me with this film was when I saw during the promotion that it was a Chicken Soup for the Soul entertainment production. I thought it was going to be like some Christian movie. They cuss up a storm in this movie.
Oh, and I love it. Like when Bully Ray said like motherfucker and they had to bleep it out or whatever it was, I thought that was great.
No, when John Moxley's character told Reese that when he said to his wife, like, hey, I'm gonna have a big celebration in my hotel room after the fight, and I won't even make you sleep on the couch. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I popped for that.
So, Chris Black, you're known to complain about the John Moxley character when it comes to AEW, but you like the New Japan version of John Moxley. Which one would you say we got in this film?
First, Chris Black would have to unmute himself.
I don't even know if he knows he's muted.
Hi. Let's all wave to him real quick. Let's see if he pays. Yeah, you.
Oh, he took out his head. Oh, he must be on the phone. All right, Mustafa.
No, but we'll
would
go
you
back
say?
to him.
What's the question?
I was saying that we've complained about John Moxley's character in AEW, and we've seen what he's done in New Japan. which John Moxley would you say that this was, or even WWE? Which version of Jonathan Good would you say he was portraying in this film? Because I really don't feel like he had a lot of stuff written for him for this film. It was just like go in there, ad lib, and be yourself.
I don't know. It's kind of a tie between the WWE and AEW character because his strong suit is his promos. He delivers good promos. And he did that in WWE and in AEW. I guess I could probably say his character's a little more edgy in AEW, so I would probably, if I had to pick one of the two, it would be AEW.
Yeah, I said it was hilarious when they were watching the YouTube video of him cutting promos. And that was like a 5-minute scene, and he was still cutting a promo. I'm like, who is he cutting this promo on? I was like, I had no idea. So Chris Black, the question was, you've criticized the John Moxley AEW character, but you like the New Japan version. Which one would you say we got in this film?
New Japan.
So that would explain why you like the film.
Definitely more New Japan because he just seemed he seemed ruthless, and the John Mox kind of teeters on that line of being a tweener. Like he's not supposed to be a heel, but he's definitely not a babyface. And like he was talking so much shit in this movie, like Mustafa was saying, the promos he's cutting, and he's just basically fuck everybody. He started shit during their press release, weigh-in, where the fuck you want to call it. He, didn't even want to shake his hand. He flips him. He does the Stone Cold double birds.
Yeah, this made me excited to see before he broke his leg. Conor McGregor versus John Moxley, just for the promo. Like, just let those two loose, and they can talk me into the building.
It's one of those situations. Like, there's YouTube channels where just like basically how movies would occur in real life. Like, I forgot. I don't know if y'all seen some of those YouTube channels where like, in this movie, this would happen in real life. Like, imagine John Moxley being John Moxley talking this shit, and for real life goes up against like an MMA fighter and just gets knocked the fuck out.
Mustafa looks confused.
I'm just looking up some research and some things.
Hopefully about this film.
It's about the film. Like the guy who played his manager, Elijah Baker, he's gonna be in the new movie The Batman coming out next year.
Oh yeah, I looked that up as well earlier. And also, go ahead.
The main fighter, like when I first saw the movie, I had to like do a double take. I'm like, is that fucking Ricochet? But there's no way in hell. As soon as I realized that AEW was involved in this movie, I'm like, no, there's no way that would have been Ricochet.
Okay, did anybody watch the credits?
No.
So in the credits, it lists as AEW, and it has all of the it has Tony Khan, it has Cody, it has the Young Bucks.
Oh, God damn it.
All
Still
listed.
gotta put themselves over.
I'm like, okay.
Well, you could tell. Well, they are the EVP. What were they classified? Executive producers?
Oh no, it just said I think it's.
Thank you to them.
I think so.
Okay, because that was one thing I wanted to bring up was that CGI arena.
Oh, that was trash.
Oh yeah, that was super trash. That was See No Evil, Kane falling out the window trash, and then the intercuts, the obvious intercuts of generic background crowd, like fake crowd, and then the intercuts of actual AEW audiences. And then it was just funny because the only highlight they had of the main character, Reese, was of the fight from the beginning of the film that we saw when they were putting together highlight packages of him. It was like they couldn't take any B-roll of him fighting any of these other guys. They had sparring in gyms or anything like that. I found that hilarious.
I bet you they just filmed that before, because it looked like how an arena looks before they set up for a wrestling show. So it looks like, when the two ladies were walking, the lady who was the promoter and I guess her assistant or whatever, when they were walking through the arena, I was like, bet you they shot this before AEW event.
Probably.
Did they always, whenever there's like a woman owner or whatever in a team, do they always have them walking into the fucking locker room with dicks just swinging? Like, is that like a movie trope?
No, that's actually a real thing.
They treat it like old men treat the gym locker room.
They just walk in like it's Trump at a beauty pageant, you know.
Hey, you want to see my Trump Tower today?
But yeah, that was interesting to me. And then it was kind of funny. I was just waiting when he lost, and his wife rolled over and he wasn't in the bed, and she goes downstairs and he's just sitting there looking pathetic on the iPad, and he's like read that to me. So she starts reading all of the memes, and I was like, nah, she ain't shit, right? Because for those who don't know, Reese's parents both died when he was 15 years old. And so after he loses to John Moxley, you know, they basically show how Twitter is the reigning, defending champion, which also I want to get to a point about that as well, of just kicking a man when they're down. And so he's looking at all the memes that have been made of him, and it was like, when your mom dies and forgets you or something like that, and it's like him crying in the ring.
Like,
and he has his wife
give you something to cry about.
Yeah, and they had his wife just read like 3 or 4 of them to him, and I was like, dude, I would like I can't make that joke. I ain't trying to get canceled. But anyways, like she should have got put in the crossface at that point. I'll just leave it at that.
Benoit. Tell me why I thought that his wife was gonna leave him and start fucking John Moxley.
Oh yeah, I did. I definitely thought that. Especially when she found out. He was broke. When he can't tell her that he was broke, and he got invited to that next fight, to come out of retirement after I forgot what they called him. He wasn't called the Beast, but he was called something. And he was supposed to have a fight with John Moxley's character, but he ended up having to drop out of the fight. And his manager came and let him know the good news, like, hey, that guy is out. You can get the fight now, but you'll be fighting a heavyweight. And he's like, no, I don't want it. He goes back upstairs. His wife is sitting there, and she's just like, why don't you want to do it? And I was just waiting for her to just be like, I've gave up everything for you, and I've supported you, and I've believed in you, but I'm fucking Matt Damon. I was just waiting for it to just come out of her mouth.
I was waiting on her to be old girl off of John Q and be like, you better do something.
Yeah, that was...
You know how I know this was a movie? Because she found out he was broke and stayed with
him. And they had the kid. Oh, and you know what? We never saw that baby again. I just thought about that. We never saw that baby again. Not after the first scene.
They pawned it.
They went to the hospital and said, hey, I'd like to return this.
Well, this movie was filmed in Canada and British Columbia, so some Catholic school problem. Never mind. The darkest podcast in Slamcast's history. But
boy, I had a joke, but I don't want to get canceled.
But yeah, this movie, it's enjoyable if you have... You know what? Actually, I'm going to go out and just say it. I actually did, and I just had to think about it for a second, but I actually did enjoy this more than Creed 2. Because at least this guy wasn't a man-child like Michael B. Jordan's character in Creed 2.
Wait, what makes him a man-child?
You take the beating that he did, shit.
Who, Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah.
Man, all he ever did was bitch, cry, and complain in those movies. So yeah, I actually enjoy this more, even though the production values are absolute shit. But it is what it is when it comes to that. What the hell? Anything else on this movie?
The memes just had me think about the whole Nate Robinson thing, because like Twitter fucking destroyed him.
Oh, don't think if this movie... Actually, you know what? I think this is what Well, no, they had already had the first Logan Paul fight and everything. I was like, I think this movie inspired the Logan Paul stuff, but that had already happened back in 2019. So when they were like, "Hey, we're gonna get some amateurs and put them in the ring together and fight or whatever." That was the other thing I wanted to bring up. It was interesting to me because when I want to remember what they was calling him. Does anybody remember when Reese had that fight and he got his ass just completely beat? And John Moxley was supposed to fight that guy?
It wasn't the Beast. The Demon? Was it the Demon?
Nah, I don't think it was the Demon, but it doesn't matter. He's the guy that beat Reese's character on his way to try to get back to John Moxley's character. And when he dropped out of the heavyweight fight because John Moxley was moving up in weight because he became the light heavyweight champion when he beat Reese. So he was like the promoter, Max Black, played by Gina Gershon, when she basically was like, he had a hard time getting down to light heavyweight, so I'm not going to have him fight at light heavyweight again and give Reese his rematch. He's going to go fight this other guy. And so he was going to move up to heavyweight. And then when that guy dropped out and then Reese got the match and they were going to fight at heavyweight, and the announcer announced two things that didn't really make any sense to me. He announced that
his name was Nightmare.
Yeah, Nightmare.
See, I tried to Google it and I couldn't find it.
Yeah. There's not a lot of information on Google for this film.
Good old Wikipedia.
Yeah. So when the announcer was announcing the match between Randy Stone and Reese, he said that this was for the vacant heavyweight title, which was interesting because shouldn't it be the interim title?
I believe so. I don't watch a whole lot of...
It should have been an interim title. He wouldn't be forced to vacate the title. Well, interim means you did vacate. It just means you didn't lose. But anyways, I digress on that point. The other part of it was, he said, the reigning defending light heavyweight champ. You can't defend the light heavyweight championship outside of the light heavyweight division. So that was just something that kind of stuck with me as a fight fan, you know. That's a nitpick on my part, but that was just something that stuck with me.
I must not have caught that because I probably would have ripped that apart.
Yeah, he just straight up pulled an Xavier Mustafa, the reigning defending light heavyweight champion of legends. It's like, what? How is he defending?
Well, you should have known me when I was the reigning, defending. Now that's what I call wrestling intergalactic cruiserweight champion of the world.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Well, I already told you when we fight,
run.
you're actually going to be defending that Hall of Fame title of yours.
That's fine. I'll defend whatever. It won't even matter.
Only title I don't want from you is your thought title. You can have that.
I smell Brock Lesnar versus Kofi Kingston in that match.
Yep.
You goddamn right. He's going to get F5, and I'm going to go home and hit the shower. I wish you were married, Mustafa. So I could cut one of those John Moxley promos on you. I'll save that for Chris Black.
I'll cut that one myself.
You can have her. But anything else on this film?
Okay,
Nope.
have anything?
You don't have anything? All right, like I said, 12 rounds, 3.
Trash.
Check it out. It's a good movie.
Shits. Don't
2
do
thumbs
it.
up.
2 thumbs down.
Middle? Can we get some middle thumbs?
It's our first.
Nope.
It's our first Disney film, y'all, that we reviewed.
No.
Man, do I want to call TC right now and say, hey, can you just say the shits one time for me really loud?
We should. Hey, you guys should get that on the soundboard. I think Chris Black needs it because that's like his favorite thing to say. You stole that from TC, Chris Black?
Probably hanging around him too much. Do we have him lined up for any of these reviews?
I did reach out to him, and he said he'll do one. So
we're running low on films. So anybody that's interested in coming on, we got a slight little selection left. I think we got like 6 films on there. So one of them is an animated film. So if you're into cartoons and especially classics, like I believe it's a Jetsons film. So it's either Scooby-Doo or the Jetsons.
Scooby-Doo shit. Yeah.
You guys gave me the list, and I had such high hopes for 12 rounds, and then it was just the shits.
Well, you subjected us to 3 hours of wrestling films.
Well, first of all, any WWE film is going to be sketchy going into it.
Overall, they haven't really all been that bad. I'll say they.
I don't know. The Chaperone was the best one I've ever seen.
Well, that's not okay,
he's banned. He's banned.
It's not me being serious. Calm down. That was also the drizzling shits.
Well, Xavier Mustafa gave that a glowing review on his XM Cinema podcast. So.
Oh, yikes! And then nobody listened again.
Well, if nobody else has anything about the Cagefighter or 12 Rounds 3, I'd like to thank our guest Logan Ross for coming on. Before we go, just let us know about your podcast, a little bit more about your podcast. So, we're recording this. For those of you who don't know, this is going to be dropping for you guys. You'll be listening to this in possibly September or October. But what do you normally cover on your sports podcast?
So if we have a guest, we normally bring on a wrestler, and if they can't cover the whole hour, or if we don't have enough questions, because sometimes we're not the best at thinking of questions, we'll ask them questions. If the whole hour isn't covered, we go right to sports. One of our segments we have that isn't even sports related sometimes, it's called 3 Strikes. I get hit with 3 questions. I have no idea what the hell they are beforehand. I get hit with them. If the guest is there, he gets hit with them. Half the time they're funny. Half the time it's, why the fuck is this a question? Then we, as always, we have our opening takes where we shit on something, or we take like a hot take. We're like, hey, this guy's gonna be good, or this team's gonna be good. In fact, we got a couple guests lined up. So you'll be listening to this after their podcast is aired, but you can go back and listen to them because we will have them available on our page, the Duffy BT Sports Network. So July 22nd, we have Marvelous Ethan Matthews. July 29th, we have former wrestler and current ring announcer Hot Shot Scott Williams. And then on August 5th, we have current wrestling manager, former wrestler, and my dad, Vic the Stick Ross. So we try to get some guests lined up, but we are going to break the show down eventually. We are in the process. It's going to be one show is going to be pure sports, and then we're going to have the second show where we just get a guy in the business, and then we interview. So we're trying to please all audiences that we have.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask, how do you know these 2 jokers?
Tru Element. Go ahead.
So, Mustafa, I met at I've seen him wrestle before, but I hadn't officially met him. My dad's in the business, and when I went over to, I believe they were calling it the Ross Family Cookout, I met Mustafa. And then, again with Chris Black, I had seen him wrestling a lot, but just had never officially met him. I officially met Chris Black when I entered the business last year in 2020. And both are cool guys.
I do want to let you know, Tru Element, you don't know this, but Mr. Ross was one of the 2 people, along with Chris Black, that conspired against New Jack.
Wow.
So that explains why no one's been arrested. White privilege.
You know, that hole punch comes in handy, you know.
Because see, Mr. Ross and Chris Black was, supposed to be directly interacting with this gentleman, and then all of a sudden, that happened.
He was protecting his dad. He's like, I gotta protect everybody in the building.
Also, a little fun fact for you guys: Chris Black holds a record for our podcast. He's the only person that has gone 2 hours on our show.
And now his wife hates you.
Right.
I plan on
Iron
going.
Man.
I plan on going at least 5.
Well, your name is Mustafa. I hope you got the stamina. I know you took 2020 off, but you're looking like you're in the best shape of your life right now.
Hey, come on. Mustafa's a playboy right there. He can go 10 hours.
I don't know. He got a lot of gray in that beard.
He's thotting.
I'm a good
What's that
Christian
face?
boy. I'm a good Christian boy.
So what is your favorite sport, or like your favorite sport to do commentary on, and what have you liked that you're seeing right now in Wisconsin sports? Or are you a Wisconsin sports fan? I guess that'd be better.
I am a Wisconsin sports fan, and I'm going to break it down to you. And I'm going to break it down to Wisconsin sports, and I'm going to tell you my favorite thing happening in baseball, because to answer your question, my favorite sport is baseball. Right now, the best thing to happen in Wisconsin sports is Milwaukee getting their head out of their ass, and the Brewers and the Bucks are doing extremely well. So I'm enjoying that. The Bucks are in the finals, down 2-1. They're definitely taking Game 4. It's going to be 2-2. And my favorite thing that's happening in baseball right now, their names are Shohei Ohtani and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Ohtani's lighting it up as a two-way player, pitching and batting, and Vlad Jr.'s just living up to the family name and just smashing home runs.
All right. And prediction for the fall: Aaron Rodgers, does he re-sign with the Packers?
Ooh. As a Wisconsin sports fan, I'm going to say he does. But as somebody who's seen a lot of weird shit in sports, I'm gonna say he sits home and doesn't play for anybody. So you have 2 answers.
All right. I don't have any other questions. You guys got any other questions?
Nope.
Chris Black is over here looking like he's on the penny with the side profile going on. But anyways, well, if nobody else has any other questions, be sure to check out Logan Ross's podcast. Where can he find that again?
As of right now, it's on Facebook. We're doing a transition to YouTube, hopefully Spotify, and but you can find us on Facebook currently. It is under the Duffy BT Sports Network, and our show is called Duffy BT Sports Show.
All right, and you can also run down all your other social medias and where they can find you.
It's on Facebook. You can find me at Logan Ross, and Instagram and Twitter are the same, at SMM Logan Ross.
All right, and one more thing I just want to ask you. I see you got a bunch of Pops characters over there.
Oh,
What is your favorite one or most valuable one that you have so far?
So, my favorite one is the Linkin Park hybrid theory I have that's on my bookcase over here. But the most valuable one is probably the gigantic Joker pop I have from The Dark Knight.
And what got you into collecting the Pops character?
One day I go to GameStop, just want to buy a game, and half the time it's me, my brother, and my cousin, and we're in this goddamn store for half an hour because they can't figure out what the hell they want ever. So I just took a little slow stroll over by the Pops, and I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan, and I'm a big Scrubs fan, and they just happen to have Dr. Cox and a few Dragon Ball Z characters that I enjoyed. So I bought Dr. Cox and some Dragon Ball Z guys, and just every time we ended up going, I found different pops that I enjoyed. Like I got in fact right here I have John Soap McTavish from Call of Duty. I have Patrick Star from SpongeBob. And I have Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Pikachu from Pokemon. And somewhere in my room, oh, right here, I have Dr. Evil and Austin Powers.
See, I didn't even know they had half of those.
Oh yeah, if you like The Witcher, I have The Witcher. Geralt with Igni, he glows in the dark. There's Giannis Antetokounmpo. My brother's wife gave me that one for Christmas. And if you're an Avatar Last Airbender fan, I have Aang, Katara, Zuko, and Sokka.
And now Mustafa's gonna come raid your home.
Yep, coming for that Zuko.
Hey, I have two because somebody got me one as a gift, but they didn't realize I had one, so you can have my second one.
You're the best man ever. How about we replace Tru Element with you? And then we move forward. I think that's what we should do.
I see he has a Chris Black one over there. At first I thought the box was just laying on his side, but that's just Chris Black's natural position on his back.
Hey, I hear Chris Black's eating the pin at Showcase.
Never that. You heard someone's been telling you some lies.
He is the Dominique Mysterio of the Urban Horse.
Oh,
sorry. That's giving Mysterio, that Dominic a little too much credit. Yeet, never be me.
All right. Anyways, without any further ado, you guys can all go ahead and give out your social medias. Once again, like I said, I want to thank Logan Ross for coming on. Hopefully, you guys can catch him at the Showcase of Champions as well. But go ahead, Mustafa, Chris Black, run down the social media.
You can catch me at Xavier Mustafa on Facebook and on Twitter. You can catch my solo podcast, XM Cinema, wherever you get your podcast fix. You can also find my social medias for them at XM Cinema on Facebook, Twitter, and the Gram.
And you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Natural Chris Black. And follow me on Twitter at _natural_CB. And be sure to follow my YouTube channel, The Natural Chris Black, where I have all the coverage of New Japan. If this is September, October, be sure you're checking it out right now because I have all my reviews up for the G1 Climax 2021. You do not want to miss that.
All right, and since you guys are here on the YouTube channel, be sure to ring that bell so you're notified whenever new episodes goes up. Leave us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, depending on how you feel about the episode. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any episodes as well. You can also catch us wherever you get your favorite podcast from. Just search Saturday Night Slamcasters. Also, check us out and join our official fan page over on Facebook. Also, join our Slam board, which is just Saturday Night Slamcasters Slam board over on Facebook, where you can interact with a wrestling community, post memes, talk shit, talk about movie releases. You know, we had that Space Jam stuff that came out earlier in the year, and we'll be talking about the Hawkeye series that's getting ready to start up, or if it has started, probably be some discussion in there about that. Also, you can catch me at Slamcaster TE78 over on Twitter, and where I'm a lot more active, you can check me out over on Discord, as well as the rest of us, where we're going to be a lot more active over there. You can interact with us during pay-per-views and different things like that. And other than that, like I said, support our guests. We'll be back with more reviews as well as other content here on the YouTube channel, as well as every second and fourth Saturday out of the month, bringing you content over on our podcast. Other than that, we up out of here. Holla at your boys. Come get slammed. Peace.